is concerned and the learnings that are to be taken into consideration. The first thing is that this Dragon spacecraft has been working flawlessly. We need to see that the next flight of the Dragon spacecraft will take an Indian astronaut to the International Space Station. This time, an ISRO astronaut, to be very precise, Indian Air Force Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla has been selected to go to pilot basically this Dragon spacecraft as part of Axiom 4 private mission. So ISRO will be very closely, very minutely looking at the performance of the Dragon spacecraft because they have to send one of their own on this entire mission. Shubhanshu Shukla is also a Gaganyaan astronaut candidate. He was revealed by Prime Minister Modi as one of the prime candidates for Gaganyaan mission, which is supposed to launch next year. So India will be closely looking at that. Apart from that, as the ISRO chief, the former ISRO chief S. Somnath also clearly said, crisis management is going to be the biggest learning from this entire mission. What happens if an uncertainty hits you in space travel? What happens when one of your subsystems fails to deliver? How do you basically come back on your feet, do your assessments, and then create your new plans to basically execute them flawlessly as NASA and SpaceX did it together? Secondly, India will surely be looking at the private space companies developing private space enterprise in India, and in the last decade, especially, India has been pushing for the private sector to take the reins of the Indian space exploration. And we have seen this with the first private launch of a rocket by the Skyroot Aerospace in India. Going forward, we'll be looking at more such collaborations, more such incentives from the government to the private sector. Apart from this, India is also a signatory of the Artemis mission. Artemis mission is basically long duration travel. NASA wants to develop colony and basically research centers on the moon. It then wants to use moon as a launching platform to go to Mars. And with Elon Musk at the helm, we see that happening in the next decade. It's likely possible. India is a signatory of the Artemis mission. Prime Minister Modi, when he visited US during the term of Joe Biden, he signed that agreement. ISRO and NASA signed that agreement together. So India is a partner in the Artemis mission. All the research that would be coming down from the long duration space travel and the health effects that take, the toll that take on its body, all the research that
clearly there are some challenges.
Are you nervous really? You know, it's taken too long. There's been a failed attempt in the past as well.
I'm not nervous at all. This is what she does. This is her career. I support her in everything that she's done so far, and I'm just proud of her. She was all anxious about coming back down. She was a little, she loved it up there. She was happy to see all her new friends that came up. There are three women from the Air Force Academy, the Naval Academy, and West Point. And it was great to see three women from three military academies all together on the space station who are astronauts. So she was all happy about that. They took a picture with the three of them. But she's going to miss her friends that are up there. And, eventually they'll all be together again on the ground sometime. So, they have a very close relationship.
Right. If you could also, tell us about what's really kept her spirits up this whole while. Was there a conversation that you had on those lines? Because, when she took off from the Earth, it was supposed to be an 8-day, 9-day mission, ended up being a 9-month-long mission for her. So what's really kept her spirit up in all of this?
Yes.
Well, I think truly she wanted to do a long duration, and she happened to get the first pilot, or, the first time on the Starliner in a short duration, which turned into a long duration. And I think she embraced it, and she really enjoyed being up there after, the decision was made for her to be there. And she just did a great job sharing what she did with many people all over the world. Or what what she sees, everything going on.
Right. Just want to tell you that Prime Minister Modi has written a letter, in fact, to her, wishing her all the very best and hopes that, at some point India is given the opportunity to host Sunita Williams. How does that make you feel, firstly? And is there a point at which you're planning that trip to India sometime later this year, maybe?
What did he say about the letter? Yeah, we were very happy that she got a letter from Prime Minister Modi. It was so nice of him to send her a letter. So we were happy, and hopefully we'll all go to India.
The other thing, people in India look at Sunita as a source of immense inspiration, for the kind of journey, for the roots that she has here in India. She becomes a real benchmark of excellence, especially when it comes to space. Does that make you a proud mother? And what sort of message would you then go to people who aspire to be more like Sunita?
You mean the children?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, she has a great following with all the kids. They all love her. They all want her to come into their school, talk to them. And in fact, she went to one school. She had a ham radio talk with one school in Sarasota, where I live. And the student who was a sixth grader, she told her teacher, she said, I know her grandmother. She lives right near my grandmother. So they happened to call me and ask me if I'd like to come. And I said, sure, I'd love to come. And the kids were wonderful. Kids are so cute. I just love them.
All right, joining me now live from New Jersey is Falguni Pandya. She's Sunita Williams' sister-in-law. Falguni, thank you for coming in. All right, all dressed up in Indian wear. I believe you're at a temple, and I must tell you and the family that she may be family to you, but here in India, everyone has felt and believed that she's as much an Indian girl and an Indian family and an Indian space girl returning to Earth. How's the mood for the family there in New Jersey for you?
So we are in New Jersey. She has family spread out throughout the United States. We all are very connected on message groups, WhatsApp groups. Everyone is very excited. For my family, we decided to come to the temple as we had planned on doing that. After she lands, we were going to come here. And I'm very happy to be expressing my gratitude to Bhagwan Ji for having everything go as planned safely. And I am joined by Pandit Ji and Bhabhi Ji. Pandit Ji is also a third cousin of Sunny Williams, and he has been an integral part of the family. He calls Sunny's dad Chacha as well. And Sunny has come to this temple many, many times. This is our family temple. So Pandit Ji has met Sunny.
About Sunita Williams, who you've known personally, about the woman, because it takes a lot of resilience to indulge in this mission, to go into space, be there, not knowing when to return. Does she have a certain resilience that you felt always set her apart from others?
Absolutely. I think that way she is unique and she is a role model. And it's very evident that despite of so many uncertainties, so many obstacles, she has always remained positive, which is very difficult to do. And especially in today's day and age when we all lose our sense of well-being when things don't go our way, and upcoming generation as well. I think she is particularly unique and very talented in the work she does, as well as in her attitude.
I think like Kalpana Chawla, Sunita Williams possibly not realizing how many Indian girls they have encouraged and they have kind of given a boost that they can make it too. Let's get in a word from Pandit Ji and Auntie Ji sitting next to him as well. Pandit Ji, some special prayer that you were performing all this while, and what special will happen today now Sunita Williams is back? If you can rotate. Yes, fine. Go ahead, Pandit Ji.
मेरा नाम प्रवीण भाई शास्त्री है और मेरी धर्मपत्नी का नाम है भारती। ऐसे ओरिजिनल नाम तो मधु है, लेकिन भारत से बहुत प्यार करने से भारती नाम रखा है मैंने। सुनीता मेरी कजिन सिस्टर है और जब से वो गई है तब से हम उनको बहुत, उसके लिए मैं हर रोज प्रार्थना करता था, उसके लिए पूजा पाठ, मंत्र जाप, यज्ञ बहुत कुछ किया है। हमारे सनातन मंदिर में वो आई है और हमारे जो मंदिर में स्कूल चलती है तो बच्चों को भी उसने ज्ञान दिया है। और सुनीता आ गई है, हमको उससे बहुत खुशी हुई है। हम भगवान को बहुत प्रार्थना करते हैं कि वो जल्दी शीघ्र, अति शीघ्र ठीक हो जाए और अपने काम पे लग जाए। ऐसे में भगवान को और हमारा पूरा परिवार भगीरथ, बद्री, सेजल, जानवी, कृष्णा सब लोग उसके लिए प्रार्थना करते थे।
तो लड़की इंडिया में जिसका बर्थ नहीं है, यूएसए में रही है, क्या उसका कनेक्ट रहा आपको लगता है रूट से, अपने कल्चर से, वो उन्होंने मेंटेन किया?
हाँ, वो किया है उसने। जब वो इंडिया गई थी तब भी मैं उसके साथ गया था और वो भगवान को भी बहुत मानती है। जब गई थी तब सब भगवान की मूर्ति, गणपति की मूर्ति और भगवत गीता बहुत कुछ लेके गई थी। वो बहुत संस्कारी है। ये हमारी तो कजिन है लेकिन ये भारत की बेटी है, भारत का शान है।
Falguni, I take this question to you. Prime Minister Modi also said, giving out a statement, looking forward for an interaction possibly later, and that she may be miles away, but she's closer to the heart. What do you think it is about Sunita Williams? And I'm asking that because I think a lot of people, especially young girls watching this right now, wondering if she can go to space, so can I. How did she manage family and then her career, the kind of ambitions that she's had? And tell us about the family support also that I'm sure she was given by family members like you.
He has been raised by very strong parents. Her dad, Deepak Chacha, Deepak Kaka, we call him, was a very intelligent, spiritual, and a powerful personality. And the mother, Aunt Bonnie, was very disciplined, loving, and also a very intelligent person. Being raised by very strong parents who believe in their children, who allow their children to make decisions, and then support them unconditionally. And the only expectation is that children should love what they do and excel at what they do and maintain the discipline and consistency in life. I think that's a recipe of success. But at the end of the day, what is success, right? It means different to each one of us.
Of course. Of course, and I think for what it means to her, she's managed to achieve. So my final question, there will be time, perhaps in a while, that you would be able to meet her, not very soon, but some celebrations happening, Indian and American style mix today with the family?
It will be family style, and the families mix, so yes.
So that will, I'm guessing food and celebrations and a lot of shore and all of that, Falguni?
Food and laughter. Because our family likes to laugh a lot. We share joys. And I know Sunny, Dina, her mom, we all laugh about everything. We don't take life with any heavy mindset. And that is another reason, right, why she survives a lot of obstacle. And right now, this is a public display of 9 months of Ya's plan not going. But it's never easy to get to where she was about obstacles. Yes, we haven't seen it play out in public life. But she has gone through a lot of hard work, lot of great perseverance and strength of mind had to be deployed to become an astronaut who has accomplished so much, contributed so much to the world.
She is, after all, with Butch Wilmore, the first crewed flight with the Boeing Starliner, and now returning after 9 months. Lovely to hear all of you. Thank you very much for joining us. Dr. Amitabh Ghosh joins me. He's been associated with the NASA. He's been a scientist. Dr. Amitabh Ghosh, what was your first thought when you saw the splashdown of the Florida coast, the rescue mission happening, the mission that started from June 2024, concluding now in March 2025, all that it has achieved, and what does it say about NASA and the USA?
Right. So there are two levels. One is the personal level and from the perspective of Sunita Williams, and from the perspective of the spaceflight program of the US. So the first part is, of course, it's been a grand journey for her. I think, I was a space scientist the other side, and she's an astronaut, and we kind of, I think, she started her career in 98. I started around 96, 97. So 3 missions, a lot spacewalks, experiments, huge a huge journey for her, and it's so so satisfying to see that this mission was completely flawless. About the human spaceflight program, just about the time Sunita Williams was starting and I was starting in the field, if you remember in 97, Kalpana Chawla passed away. And there was a tremendous accident. And then that caused NASA to shut down the shuttle program. And in 2010, I think around, the shuttle program was shut down and the US had no way to go to space. So they were completely dependent on the Russians. And, it was the talk of, it's really a bad decision. And what NASA did is try to do a very innovative model to develop. Instead of developing it in-house, they partnered with two companies, SpaceX and Boeing, and I think paid them $2.5 billion and $4 billion. And the condition was they have to pitch in half the development cost. NASA would pitch in half the development cost. And then after they're able to develop, and if they're able to develop such a vehicle, NASA would buy services from them. So now, about 7-8 years, US had no way to access space. And now look, the Crew Dragon is a reliable way for NASA to send astronauts to the space station and back. And Boeing, has some heartache, but it will come through, I think, 1 or 2 hours. The next bigger picture is the space station is not, this is where Sunita Williams spent the time. This is also going to be retired in 5 years. The contract to, take the space station apart and deorbit it is already out. So, and SpaceX it's almost $1 billion. SpaceX is going to do that. And then NASA would hopefully think of the next frontier where they want to. So the space station is 250 miles away from Earth.
Okay.
Very close. So the next probably destination might be the moon, right? That's where you have your space station. That's send the astronauts. And the second thing, if you heard President Trump's speech, right? Sending humans to Mars. Well, it will take 1.5 years for astronauts minimum, right? So this whatever Sunita Williams stayed is going to be 1/3. It has to be 3 times longer. And so we have to think of new strategies.
And I want to inform the viewer that Dr. Amitabh Ghosh has been associated with the NASA Mars mission for years now. So he understands the workings inside. I do have a quick question. You got me curious, Dr. Ghosh, because you've known Sunita Williams, I believe, personally as well or within NASA. Now, my added question here is tell us a bit more about Sunita Williams, who the world is talking about right now, specifically in a lot of ways, especially for India, because there's been an Indian origin connect. And also, how is the mood inside NASA at a point like this? When you bring back astronauts and amid the kind of uncertainty that we saw, what is the mood inside for the scientists sitting there who are tracking every movement? And also tell us about Sunita Williams as you have known her.
See, I have not known her. So the connect was, scientists and astronauts, including Kalpana Chawla, so they trained in Houston. And we visit Houston and we used to visit their gym. And, so we would run into astronauts there. I have a lot of friends who became astronauts. And so through that, I know. And then, we would run into them in probably places to eat in Houston. Like there's an astronaut's bar that we go to, and then there's an Indian restaurant called Mughal. So you have to understand the backdrop. They have their houses in suburbia, and they have their lives. And but one very critical difference between a NASA scientist and the NASA astronaut is, this adventure, which also comes with risk. So every time your family knows that you have gone for a mission, there is this thing. It's not a regular airplane ride. There is some degree of, thought that, something not so good might happen. And this we saw firsthand during the Kalpana Chawla days, it's absolutely heartbreaking. So there is a very big component there. And this is where I think if you went to the Himalayan Mountaineering Institute in Darjeeling, there is a thing that why do mountaineers climb the Everest? Right. And it's kind of madness, to think of the risk, but people. And that is where the astronauts become so much heroes. They stretch the envelope. of what humans can do.
What do you think was happening in NASA at that moment when the splashdown was happening?
So I think NASA is dissociated, but I think everybody on the NASA TV. So this, I don't know, some of this footage that you're showing comes from NASA TV. So we have our in-house TV.
Okay.
And then there was, this thing was moved forward a day. It was supposed to be tomorrow. And I think that was because of weather concerns in the Florida coast. The weather is notably not predictable. So I think there was a huge sense of relief that it happened and able to come home. And it's kind of a little bit of being in limbo, which was that the amount of time that she and Butch spent is not within the top 5 of what astronauts have spent in space. But the feeling that this is, I don't know when I'm going to come back, that's not a good feeling,
But
yes. Right. So I think everybody's happy for her and happy for her.
Maharashtra ATS official has said they are doing a discreet inquiry, which is routine in such cases. This on reports of Kashmir pattern of stone pelting. The ATS official in question says there is no pattern that has been established though. How the mob was mobilized with stones and bricks, petrol pumps used with precision on police vehicles. All these angles need to be probed by the police, is what we know. Ritik continues to be with us for more on that. The ATS, they're saying that they're probing the way the riots began really, but no specific pattern has been established as far as stone pelting is concerned. Ritik? Maharashtra ATS to probe how the Nagpur riots began. They've been tasked with the job of looking into how the rioting and the tensions began in this area and continued up until late Monday evening. The ATS has said they're doing a discreet inquiry, which is routine in such cases. On reports of Kashmir pattern of stone pelting, ATS officials said there is no pattern as of now. How the mob was mobilized with stones and bricks, petrol bombs used with precision on police vehicles. All these angles need to be probed by the cops, is what we know. Getting you more details about the inquiry in this case, about the investigations in this case, even as an uneasy calm prevails in Maharashtra's violence hit Nagpur, with the ATS saying how the mob was mobilized with sticks and stones. Whether there is a pattern to this or not is going to be established only after a detailed inquiry, is what we know. The ATS to probe how the Nagpur riots began essentially in this case. ATS probe how mob mobilized with stones and sticks. They're doing a discreet inquiry, which is routine in such cases, is what sources within the ATS are indicating. Ritik is back with us for the very latest. Take us through the details of the investigations in this case. Ritik? Maharashtra Mantri calls for raising of Aurangzeb tomb. Mantri Rane for Babri-like fate for tomb. Seeking Babri-like car sevak action, the Congress has hit out. Calls it stoking riot bid. A statement has been made by a Maharashtra Mantri calling for raising of the Aurangzeb tomb. Babri-like fate for the Aurangzeb tomb is what is now being said by the Mantri in question. Calls for raising of the Aurangzeb tomb. The Mantri Rane says there should be Babri-like fate for tomb. Seeking car sevak action. Congress is hit out. Remember, this matter has been simmering for days together now with the BJP and the Shiv Sena government, essentially talking about the removal of the tomb. Nitesh Rane has made this comment. Let's take a listen.
पण तुम्हाला माहिती आहे कुठेही असलो तर आज मंत्री आहे उद्या नाही पण मरेपर्यंत हिंदू असेल हे ठरवून मी काम करतोय प्रत्येकाने आपलं आपलं काम करावं सरकार म्हणून आम्ही फक्त काम करणार होता बापरी म्हणजे तोडत असताना आपण दुसऱ्याला विचारत बसतो नाही आपल्या कारसेवकांनी योग्य काम केलं सरकार म्हणून त्यावेळी योग्य ती भूमिका राज्य सरकारने घेतली
सरकार में बैठे हुए मंत्री जो वोट लेते हैं जब मंत्री बनते हैं तो उसका पालन वो मंत्री कर ही नहीं रहे तो मुख्यमंत्री क्यों उसको रोकते नहीं मुख्यमंत्री रोकते नहीं तो इसका मतलब ये है कि सरकार को ही हिंदू मुसलमान लड़ाई करवाना है और इसलिए ये खेल चल रहा है
Getting in more details on that story, controversial statement being made by a minister, sitting minister, at a time when there is uneasy calm in Nagpur already. There's been rioting. There have been several people who have been injured. Ritik.
Absolutely, and this is not the first time Minister Nitesh Rani has made such a provocative statement. In fact, when asked yesterday in the ongoing budget that opposition alliance is demanding his resignation over his provocative statements, which is leading to communal tensions, he has categorically said that I am one of the favorite minister in the list of CM Devendra Fadnavis, and it is my right and duty to safeguard Hindutva and Sanatan Dharma values. So he is adamant and he is keeping on going on making such provocative statements, and this is not the first time Minister Nitesh Rani has made such statements.
Be with us. Coming back to you, Ritik Bhalekar, in a moment from now. Top scam involving Lalu Yadav. The ED is drilling, is what we know. Lalu to reach ED office in Patna. ED to ask on jobs, railway jobs in lieu of cash. To ask Lalu on number of youth fleeced. Also, ED to ask Lalu on alleged black assets. ED to question Lalu on rail job scam conduits. I'm going to go straight across to Rohit for more details on that story. Rohit, give us a sense of what the line of questioning really is going to be at this point in time, where once the drilling starts.
Well, yes, this is not for the first time that RJD Supremo Lalu Prasad Yadav will be questioned in the land for job scam by the investigating agency, that's the ED in this case. And today at around 10:30, what we are learning is that Lalu Prasad has to present himself before the ED office in Patna, where I am at this point of time, and a security deployment has already taken place here. And remember, yesterday Rabri Devi and Tej Pratap Yadav were summoned by the ED, and they also came here, and both of them were questioned by the ED for almost 4.5 hours, and a lot of questions were asked regarding the land for job scam. And what we are learning is that the ED has landed on some new and fresh documents and fresh evidence on the basis of which questioning has to be done, and that is why both Lalu, Rabri Devi and Tej Pratap Yadav have been questioned in back-to-back in these 2 days. And what we are learning is that the ED will be questioning that from where did Lalu Prasad and his family acquire properties, land in Delhi, in various parts of Bihar. So several questions are there that have to be asked by the investigating agencies with Lalu Prasad Yadav, especially because this scam pertains to the period when Lalu was the railway minister between 2004 and 2009. So in an election year, you see it's trouble mounting for the Yadav family here. And in October and November, what you know is that the elections will take place. But just ahead of that, we are seeing that pressure is mounting. And once again, the ED, which is like investigating the land for job scam, has started questioning several members of the Lalu family. Back to you.
Rohit Singh, I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. Thanking you for getting in those details from the ED office in Patna. Was my colleague Rohit with the very latest on that story.
So remember that they'll return to the earth, but the readjustment also takes time. There's a lot of impact and toll on the human body, even though these are, of course, experienced and trained astronauts. But here's what the experts would be looking at. Look closely. Baby feet, for example. The weightlessness, and not just for 9 days, but 9 months, can cause the feet callus to basically diminish and can look like baby feet, which means impact on the bones as much. All of that, because you're now in gravity, will have an impact on the body. Dizziness, vertigo, there could be a walking difficulty. You've been floating in space for 9 months, a tethered spacewalk, and now immediately rooted to gravity. The first step that you took was when the splashdown happened and your colleagues helped you get back up. which means leg and back muscles may weaken. So that is something that will need to be looked at by the medical experts. Now, one of the known differences or challenges that happen to a human body from space into Earth is the bone density loss. There's increased risk, possibly of fractures, considering if the bones are not strong enough. Also remember, Sunita Williams is about 59 years of age, Butch Wilmore is about 62. There will be cardiovascular recovery that will be looked at over the next 45 days of rehab program. Spatial disorientation. You've been used to a certain spacewalk, floating in the air, so to say. Now rooted to the ground.